Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grand Canyon. This was our last stop on this trek that we're on, and just wanted to show you a little bit about where we stayed. 10X Campground outside of the Grand Canyon National Park. We chose this campground, one, because of availability. The other two campgrounds within the park were already booked up uh, months ago when I was planning this, and so I was able to find 10X, which we really enjoyed. Probably the biggest negative would have been the fact that we had no hookups, meaning no electricity, no water, no sewer. And so, because of that, we had to run our generators. They had quiet hours from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So, at 9 p.m., the generators had to be turned off. But the nice part about this campground was the space. Proximity to the Grand Canyon, but also the space that we had. We had a lot of space between each campsite. Unfortunately, Hayden and Eli and Mary and I couldn't be that close for whatever reason. The other campsites between us were reserved, even though nobody actually ever took them. But as the weekend got closer, some of the other sites did start to fill up with tent campers. But for the most part, we had this campground to ourselves, especially initially, and we really enjoyed it. Again, it was a great location to be able to camp, really enjoy the outdoors. It's set amongst the ponderosa pines, beautiful wildlife. Yeah, we had a great time. Now I'm going to let Eli and Hayden tell you a little bit more about our stay in the Grand Canyon.
Hello everybody,
Hello.
we're back.
We are.
In the last video, we were at Blue Water State Park. We are now at Lake Powell, but in between there, we were at the Grand Canyon. And so we're just gonna give our review of the Grand Canyon, basically.
Yeah, so it was really cool coming in. So when we first got there, we had to go to a campground to a station to fill up water, and as we were driving in, you could see over the edge the rim of the canyon. Granted, we weren't able to see it yet, so we stopped, we walked out, and we got our first view of it, and it was really cool. It was amazing. It's giant. There's no way to even comprehend it in a video or a photo.
Extremely vast. So the weather there, we quickly realized that it's very hot during the day. If you want to stay hydrated, it's high 90s to sometimes in the hundreds, and at night it can get as low as like 48 degrees.
Yeah, so I think our first night there was actually 41 degrees. So we slept, we didn't have a power hookup and we didn't have a water hookup at our campground. It was more of a tent campsite, but we set up our RV and we had generators to run. Quiet hour started at 9 p.m. So at 9 p.m. we just had to open up the windows and let the air flow through. Luckily around 9 p.m. is when it would start cooling off. But around, probably 4 o'clock in the morning, you'd wake up shivering. And you'd have to get up and put on a jacket and put on sweatpants and put on socks and then curl back up and try and fall asleep.
So we started sleeping with wool socks in the bed.
Yeah, just right next to us so we could wake up and put them on whenever.
Yes, and so wildlife that we saw first day that we were there coming into the park, we saw a lot of donkey deer. Are they mule deer?
Donkey deer? Mule deer.
Deer.
Mule deer is what they're called.
Lots of mule deer.
A lot of mule deer.
They were super cute, huge deer.
Really big ears.
Really cute.
Where the name comes from, obviously. I realize that now.
So we saw those, and then we got our first spotting of some elk.
Yeah, the elk were really cool. There was a baby.
They did not care about us at all.
No, they didn't. They just walk right across the road. We stopped at a stop sign, and they would just migrate right across. It was actually a baby suckling on its mom to get some milk. So we got a video of that.
Move your hands up.
And it was really cute. And then she just kind of moseyed on in front of us. Yeah, so it was
And then
cool.
we realized we were so focused on the babies nursing that we didn't realize there were about 6 on the other side of
just
us,
standing there.
standing there staring.
And then that same day on the way back to the campground, right as we were pulling into our campground, there were 3 bulls, huge bulls, just walking around our campground, just hanging out. And then
the next morning
we saw a coyote running across the campground. I was sitting outside of Mitch and Mary's trailer. and it just kind of walked around the car, and then zoomed off. So it was cool. He wasn't
cute.
skittish at all. All the wildlife there is super calm around
They're
people.
super used to people, obviously.
They have no hunting, so they don't really have any predators.
So we stayed at 10X Campground. It was nice because there were campgrounds that were in the Grand Canyon, but they were packed. There were tons of kids. Facilities were completely overwhelmed, and so we felt very lucky to be able to stay in kind of a more out of the way, but still very close to the park. And it was more tents than it was RVs, which I felt really bad for because it was so freezing at night and so hot during the day. But it was a lot of tent campers. And one of our favorite nights, we were outside playing board games. We had leftover pizza, and we had a dude across the street from us that was tent camping with his 3 sons named Vladimir.
He talked like these. He very Russian.
It was funny.
It
And
was.
we gave them pizza, and in return they gave us lamb that they had cooked, like 4 lamb chops, and I don't like lamb at all. It was absolutely delicious.
I love lamb, and it was probably the best lamb that I've ever had. It was really good. We were a little skittish at first because the guy had left all of his stuff out, all of his food items and condiments out on the picnic table in the sun while they went hiking that day, and then he came back and they gave us the lamb. We're pretty sure it was probably seasoned with some of that stuff, but our stomachs are fine. It was great, so we weren't sweating it.
This is our across the way neighbor Vladimir's set up. It's he and his 3 children. I think they are off right now, headed to the Grand Canyon to go hike. And evidently they don't have a cooler or anything. Even the dressing has been left out. The ketchup's been left out in the sun all day.
And then we set up our outdoor shower.
Yeah.
Thanks to Eli.
The outdoor shower is really cool. We got the name of it is an Alpcore outdoor shower. So it's 4 walls. You stake down each corner, and then you stake down each rope, just kind of like a regular tent. It's about 6.5 feet tall and about 3 feet wide on each end.
We'll try and give y'all like a video. We're gonna.
Yeah, we'll put in a picture of the actual shower itself. Yeah.
So.
But it was really cool. It was nice to have the outdoor shower. We had to, take quick Navy showers just because we were refilling our camper with bottles of water every day. We had these huge gallon jugs, and we would put about 4 of them in every day, and that would give us enough for about 2.5 showers or so, and a little bit to brush your teeth or wash your hands.
Yeah. Now here at this hookup, we have complete running water in Lake Powell and electricity.
Yeah.
So we're able to run the AC 24/7.
Yeah.
And there's a drone over there.
Yeah, he's trying out his drone. Looks to be going pretty well.
And so here we actually can just sit there in the shower and not take Navy showers and just shower. So I've been able to shave my legs and get really clean, and that's made me very happy.
We missed the running water, but we're glad to have it now.
Yes.
So on our second morning there, we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Best time to do it
Best
if you're
time
gonna
to do
hike the Grand Canyon.
Mhm.
It's too hot to go early in the day, and it's packed with people.
Yeah.
So definitely go in the morning when the sun is coming over the peak. It's a gorgeous view.
It is. So we did our hike at Angel Bright Trail was the name of it. It's a very famous trail in the Grand Canyon. So by being there early, we were able to beat the large crowds of people. As we were moving down the trailhead, we actually noticed 2 tour buses full of people pulling up to come hike it. So it was nice to be a little ahead of all that. So like I said, we got on the trail about 4:30, and we hiked all the way down to the 1.5 mile marker, which on the way down probably took an hour and a half, and that was with stops, us taking a lot of pictures, which we'll put in for you guys to see, taking a lot of breaks, just kind of enjoying it, because we knew it wasn't going to be a super long hike.
a lot of people were hiking down on mules as well. We originally, when the first plan was to stay on the Grand Canyon floor for a night, we were going to use pack mules to take our gear down, but we weren't able to find any. After seeing the people on the Grand Canyon on the trails riding the mules, not
Sketchy.
something we would want to do
Very sketchy.
at all.
If you don't have great experience with that, you should not be doing it. We could tell there was a couple that was coming down, and they had guides, but they were obviously
The guides
extremely
were
unfamiliar.
struggling to keep these people on the side of the road.
Very. And it's one of those places where if you're passing somebody going up and they're going down, you're kind of hugging the wall a little bit just because there's a huge 1,000-foot drop right next to you. And these people were up on horseback, walking on this rough terrain, and it was just kind of scary looking.
Going bumpy a little bit.
Yeah, so we're definitely glad we didn't do that one.
Yeah, we are happy. We are extremely happy the way that we did it. I don't think that we could have done it better.
No, we couldn't have. So we got to the 1.5 mile marker. We ended up going just a little bit further, maybe about a quarter mile, just to this really great viewpoint, which I think
Put
is
pictures in.
probably the furthest you need to go in order to really get the full scope of the Grand Canyon, unless you want to hike to the floor, which is a lot of work. Mitch and Mary went ahead and headed back up. We headed back up after taking a few pictures. We ended up catching up with them. It was a struggling hike to get back up because it was so steep. We had to take a lot of breaks, but we probably got back up in an hour 45-ish, something like that. So overall,
Stay hydrated.
yeah, the hike, we got back at 8 o'clock, probably about 8 o'clock in the morning. So it ended up just being about 3.5 hours for the hike, which I think was a perfect amount of time.
It was nice. We went back. We got to eat breakfast at the Canyon Village, and it was delicious. So it was just a great day. We were happy just to be kind of done with that part of the day and seeing all that stuff that early in the morning. It's kind of crazy that at 8:30 we had just been done
It
with
was.
the whole thing.
So for the rest of that day, we kind of just lollygagged around a little bit, messed around the campsite, and then the next day we had a pretty lazy morning, but then we got to go on a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon. It was a 45-minute tour.
From front to back.
Yeah, from front to back. So we went all the way to the westernmost point of the canyon and circled back, not quite all the way to the easternmost point, but very close. And it was really cool. It was amazing. As the pilot was saying, we went from 300 feet. He said we're about to go from 300 feet above the trees to 3,000 feet above the canyon. So if you're afraid of heights, don't look down. And it was a little scary at first, but once we got
I've never been in a
comfortable.
helicopter.
No,
so.
I've only been in one once, and it was for like a school thing, so it was not
So
like
I was
this at
very excited. I got to sit in the very front. It was a little nerve wracking, but I'm super happy that we did it. And
I am
like I
too.
said, I think a mixture of definitely going down in the canyon and then also taking the helicopter ride. There's just no better way to do it. And I think honestly, you know, if you eat around, if you walk the village, you're walking on the rim of the canyon the whole time. Most people that come to the Grand Canyon never step off of that edge. They just walk around the village and you can just see into the Grand Canyon the whole time. But we would recommend that you do that. You eat dinner in the village, and then you also make sure to hike down, especially early in the morning. And then also a helicopter ride will just top off the whole entire experience.
It
And
really does.
it'll show you how vast the Grand Canyon really is.
So that night after the helicopter ride, we went to the restaurant on the rim of the canyon. It's called the El Tovar. It was established in 1910. So it's an old place, a really, really cool place, and amazing, amazing food. You know, kind of fancy restaurant, really good service. Prices weren't crazy though, you know.
We also sat in like a cocktail lounge while our table was being set up. It was delicious.
We
had
did. It was very
amazing
good.
drinks.
Very good.
And then the next morning we woke up to pack up everything and head out, and we had to actually go through the park again and around. And so getting into the park that day took about 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was the longest line we'd experienced yet trying to get into the park, and I think it was obviously because it was a Sunday, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday, so it was a Sunday. So I think a lot of people were there for weekend travel. and maybe people just getting there to spend the rest of the week in the canyon. We're getting there for the first time. So it took us a little while to get in, but once we got through, there was no traffic, and we got one last beautiful view of the canyon, because you drive right along the rim and just right around the canyon
and
to get out of there. So
once you're driving to, like, we're in Lake Powell right now, once you're heading out that way, there are just mountain ranges that you kind of are going in and out through the middle of. So the drive out here is absolutely gorgeous.
It was, and it wasn't a bad drive. It was only about 2.5 hours, so that was nice after you know, a lot of fun in the Grand Canyon. We were a little tired, so it was good to not have a super long drive to get here, and plenty of time to set up. We got here probably 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is our earliest setup yet. Normally we get places about 5 o'clock, so we had plenty of time to set up, enjoy the day. Yeah, hang out, set up.
So like we said, we're now in Lake Powell, and so far it is gorgeous. We'll add in more pictures after we get them from the boat today, but it's a lot more Grand Canyon almost, but less rigid, more flowy.
Yes,
almost.
much
the
more
mountains and the concaves of the sides of the canyons are much more wavy and rigid, and it's gorgeous.
It is.
The water's super blue out on the lake. We can actually see it from our campground.
We rented a
right
boat,
now.
so we'll have a boat tomorrow and the next day, so we're very excited for that.
So we're going on a boat today.
And we will fill you guys in on all the Lake Powell activities and fun on the next video.
In Moab, but right now we're just going to try and enjoy Lake Powell, and we'll give y'all an update about that when we see y'all in Moab. And we're gonna in a second walk down. Eli's done a lot around this campground, so we really want to show off our little outdoor area. And
so we'll stitch a little tour of the campground on the end of this video.
Yeah, and then also we're gonna have a tour of the inside of our camper at some point. It's extremely messy right now, so we're not going to today.
But maybe in Moab you'll get one.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
So
all right.
Thank you guys.
All right, well,
see you again.
We'll give you all a tour at the end of this video, but so stick around for that. But for now, bye everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Hello everybody. We're giving a little camper tour right now. So if you'll come over this way, this is our shower right here. Eli set it all up. We stole some rocks from around the campground to kind of secure it. But we've got a little shower hookup that you can see back there. We turn on our water and then we pull the shower head through. So we kind of duck a little bit over here. And this is the inside of our shower. We have a cute little stool. It's very nice. It's much better than showering on top of our toilet in the RV. And so we can walk back around this way. Pay no attention, we're still organizing. This is our little pathway that Eli built us. Our boot cleaner. And we've got some 4th of July decorations right now, so we can celebrate. But here's our little table. Eli put up this tarp for some extra shade today. We have our red, white, and blue lights strung up here on the camper. We have a picnic table as well. Our picnic table cover does not cover it though, because it's a prep area table. So it's nice, but also hot to sit on. And that's about all of our outdoor setup. So thank you guys.